Welcome back to the Glint Standard. Today we're going to be talking about valuable content. Not just content, how to make that content valuable. So content. Content is king. You hear it all the time, right? It's an old saying. Some people get tired of hearing it, but it's extremely important. And I think as we evolve year after year with marketing, it's content is a very big piece of that. How do you make it valuable? Because it can't just be, let's just put a bunch of stuff out and hope it sticks. You really have to think through that. So talk to me a little bit about what you feel like valuable content is.
Yeah, I mean, in today's day and age, there's a ton of valuable content that a company can produce, right? And it really just depends on, as an advertising marketing firm, right? Branding agencies, all of us, we really have, I would say, one of the biggest hurdles to overcome than compared to most industries, because they're expecting valuable content out of us, right? If you're a plumber or an electrician, you could just put together a YouTube series and that's it. You're done, right?
But is that valuable content?
It is, as long as you're doing here's a how-to. Like, how do you change a switch on your wall, right? Or how do you change the plumbing underneath your sink? Or not even a how-to. Like, some of it's just explaining what is the plumbing underneath the sink. Like, why is there a bend in the pipes, right? Like, all those things.
So what is, give us some ideas. What are the top ways to create valuable content? What is valuable content? Is it video? Is it blog? I mean, what are some things? We've talked about forums before as being content.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about forms of content.
Yeah, I would say that's changing a lot, right? What's valued in people's minds is definitely changing, right? Tons of companies have a blog now, right? What we're finding is that most of the time it's not information that's really all that relevant or extremely exciting or anything like that. It doesn't have a lot of value to the end user.
So let me ask you this, and we'll take blog as an example. So a lot of times when you're doing blog and you're creating content, it's not meant to have value. It's to help push your SEO forward.
Right.
What's the difference there?
Right. So it goes back to, I would say, what do you value, right? Is it an SEO play like most blogs are nowadays, right? Then yeah, it has value, but you have to see the value in your Google Search Console, right? And see that you're increasing in rankings. Okay, now we've validated that is working, right? And it's doing what we intended it to do.
So instead of always assuming the value has to be to your audience, it's not necessarily to your audience or your client or your prospects, whatever that is. Sometimes it's about making your company have more awareness. That could be the value of it, and really defining what that value is.
Yeah, and I would say most people, when you talk about value, they're going to assume it is that prospective client or customer that they see value in it, and so they're more likely to purchase or become a partner or whatever, right? And I would say the most powerful content for that is the most difficult to get, and that's user-generated content, right?
Yeah, it'd be great if you can get it, though.
Yeah, exactly, right? So putting on contests and having a specific landing page about, we want to drive this, or we really want to build this, or doing those kinds of things to get other people to actually engage with your brand, that's going to have significant value, because it's that social validation for other people to then go, oh, my friend Timmy also liked this, right? So I'm going to like it as well because I trust Timmy, right? So
forms of content, they really run the gamut. It's not just, as you think, a video, most people, a video, a blog, a photo, a good story. It is forms, it's hashtags, it's all of those things work together.
Reviews, all of it.
What's the goal of it, right? What do you find to be the most effective forms of content?
Again, it really depends on the goal. Absolutely, what you're trying to do. I would say if you're just starting out, or if you're really trying to push your content plan, the best thing that you could absolutely do is be realistic, right? What could we generate internally, or what could we get an agency to generate? for us, or a freelancer, or whoever that needs to be at the time being, right? But what kind of content is realistic that we could be consistent with? Because that's the thing. You want to be consistent with your content. The other is, how do we mix what we're doing all together, right? So as an example for us, our blogs typically relate to the podcast and the topics that we're talking about, right? The only difference is if a listener actually sends us a question and we're like, oh, that's really important right now, we need to touch it. But in general, we've put together a content calendar for the remainder of the year, and we think through it and we go, okay, this blog topic matches this type of question that we've had in the past, so we're going to answer that on the podcast, and we're going to post, and we're going to put that podcast in there. So tons of relevant information about that topic or around that topic, all in one location, for it's easy for the end user as well.
So what about, touch on these two things for me, because there can be a lot to it. How important is the amount of content, the actual volume of content, whatever that is, whether it's the same thing or a bunch of different things, and value for long-term content, maybe define what that is, versus short-term content.
Yeah, so I call it evergreen content.
Okay.
And evergreen content is content that you can push out that's not, top 5 trends of 2020, right? That's not evergreen content. Evergreen content would be something like, I don't know an example off the top of my head, but it's, how to get started in video advertising. That's going to be evergreen for a little while, right?
I mean, it's going to last more than a year. It's 5 years, 10 years down the road. It's still relevant. That's what you mean by the evergreen side of it, right?
And you're able to find it. It's still relatable to what's going on. It's also, evergreen content usually is going to be a good entry level into somebody knowing your business, right? So it's those how-tos, it's this is the explainer type, right? All of those, because it gets somebody to go, oh, I didn't really ever know that, right? Like plumbing as the example, right? Why are your pipes underneath your sink curved? I didn't know for a long time. Why?
Because your house will stink if they're not.
Exactly, right? But having that could live forever, right? It's not going to change. Why you should change your fan direction during certain seasons, that's a form of evergreen content. It's not going to change, right? Yeah. So those are just examples. But having short-term content, like a prime example of that, everybody, well, not everybody, but there's a large misconception right now that you have to post on social media constantly, like multiple times a day. You have to do it because that's what the algorithm says. In reality, the algorithms are changing constantly, and based on when we're recording this right now, the algorithm for Instagram is not to post a ton. You actually get a lot more traffic if you're inconsistent with your posting, because it seems more organic and
a little more genuine kind of thing.
Yeah, and what's the engagement that's coming off of that?
Well, that goes to then when you get something from a company, the value of what you get seems higher because you're not getting it all the time.
Right.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So that's a misconception right now. Everybody, one of the ones that used to go around was because the feed was just who you followed in order, and that's how it was. Well, post 6 times a day, so then that way you're always in their timeline.
Oh, right.
No, you don't need to do that. The algorithm has changed and been adapted. So those are difficult things to also keep up with.
Well, because they're changing all the time.
Constantly.
What about the volume of content? I mean, you're touching on that a little bit, right? We don't need to post 4 times a day.
Right.
Because when you do have something important, it just blended in with everything else. That's how I look at it as a marketer, right? It's good to, in general, and really generalizing, every specific case may be different, but put some things that are informative to your audience that they may engage with and like and enjoy. And then if you sell products, throw your product in there every once in a while. But don't over-inundate them with product, sale.
Right.
That type of thing, because now your offers have no value because your product's not worth the money.
There's a very strategic way to handle that as well. So if you think about it, most people move through either a typical sales cycle or a typical sales funnel, right? In almost any industry. And so in your top part of your funnel where you have awareness and they've never heard of you before and they've just found out about you, having something that is evergreen content, whether that be a blog, whether that be a video, whatever that is, right? Whatever format that is, doesn't really matter, but having that evergreen content is good. And as you drill down and get them closer towards, they've interacted, Now they've interacted 4 times, and they filled out a form now, and now we can send them a white paper about more information about our services. Well, now we could reach out and actually have a conversation about integrated marketing strategies, right?
Okay, so that's great, but how do you go about creating that content?
Yeah, that's the difficult part.
Quality, speed, how fast it's going to be produced, and my understanding of the way things are shifting right now are it's more important to forego quality a little bit to get the right content out when you need it, because we are moving so quickly as a society, and the products we're using to create the content, right, what we're talking about now, have increased. A lot of times your phone can get great quality for you. You still need to do some things with it, but for the most part, it gets you pretty close from where it used to be.
Yeah, and realistically, you touched on one strategy, right, which is to be first to market.
Right.
So be the first one to inform the audience that finds that information relevant, right? So if there was a new advertising platform that came out or a brand new social platform, being the first one to explain it, how it works, all of those things, right? Very, very relevant. However, there is a different audience. There's people that are beta users. They're not alpha users, right?
Right.
And they'll wait till all the bugs are figured out, and they will find the person who utilizes it best. So they'll wait till somebody has grown an audience, has proven, proof is in the pudding kind of thing, proven that they can utilize that new social media channel and listen to them as a resource rather than the person.
But even then, I mean, how do they go about creating that valuable content?
Yeah.
You know?
So absolutely, whatever's easiest for you is really what that comes down to. Video is obviously a very quick and easy thing nowadays, just because, as you said, phones, right? The way phones and cameras have shifted, being able to attach a microphone, put it on a tripod, and even have the bendable tripod so you put it literally anywhere. Start there, right? So like when a client comes to us or I'm at a convention or a seminar or wherever, and somebody comes up to me and they ask, okay, I want to do some content. I've been looking at it. I've been doing some research. I think nobody else is really doing a video series about this or putting this type of information out. How do you think I should do it? I say, go take your iPhone and put it on a tripod.
No, hire an agency.
Well, yeah.
No, I get
in an ideal world, right?
Yeah.
But I say just start. Start and then be consistent. Because if you don't, somebody else will either A, pass you by, or B, you just kind of drop off the face of the earth.
You do, and depending how big you are, where your budgets are, how involved you want to be. Also, I think some good advice would be, understand why you want it, what's your expectation from it, and if it is, I want my company to see more as an expert, hire a good writer to write that for you, right? And you can do that without hiring an agency, right? And then you can go and edit that and make it your own voice. That makes it a little bit easier. If you're terrible at social posting, hire somebody to help with that. But if you do love doing that piece of it, just get started and utilize other sources as you continue to grow to alleviate your time to make sure that what you're doing is good and you're not just doing content to do content. Because it can kill you.
Well, it can, and that's what I even said. So like say your budget isn't massive and you're able to only do, because of time restraints or what have you, you're only able to do like 6 videos on a particular topic, right? And call it a campaign, if you will, right? Take those and then push them through different ways, right? So now we're going to push them through on social, we're going to put them through on an email thing. You can utilize content in multiple different ways.
And you also now have created 6 videos that are maybe substantial,
right,
that you can maybe segment out as well, if you've thought about it that way.
Absolutely.
Well, now you have 6 videos that can break into 24 or 36 pieces of content. Right. Okay. Why are we even talking about this? So what are the benefits of it? Why should we even be going down this path?
Yeah. In my professional opinion, what I have found, right, looking at Google Analytics for all of our clients and really looking at that, content is one of the easiest ways to get people into your door, to know who you are, right? If you're producing content, you're able to reach an audience that you otherwise wouldn't reach, right? Very similar to like advertising, right?
Okay.
but you're producing it to try to drive people into your business or get to know you with a very, very soft touch by providing them value. And if you're doing that as a company, the customer on the other end is going to go, oh, they actually care about me. Like they're giving me something, right?
Yeah, and I liken it to, word of mouth advertising in this day and age is the best you can have. You now have ways to push that word further through just digital platforms, right? Whatever those might be. And I think it enhances that word of mouth a little bit, and that's some of the greatest benefit you can get off of it. You have content that's shareable that you can put in front of other people, whether that's an offer, and an offer is one thing, but if people find it helpful and valuable, this is why your sink has the curve in it. Joe and I were talking about that the other day. I'm going to share that with him.
Right.
Well, now your brand is starting to expand a little bit too, organically, where you're not constantly driving and hitting like, I got to tell everybody in the world that I do this so that they come to me.
Right.
Well, you need help with that. Nobody can do that. You have to have other people talk about it. Coke does it, right?
Right.
People love Coke. And you'll go in, people have Coca-Cola bathrooms, right? They will go, you need to drink Coke because it's the best soda out there. That's how passionate people are about that brand. Okay, I'll try Coke. They've never even seen a Coke commercial. They probably have.
Yeah.
But the point is, other people are starting to sell for you because they believe so much in what you're doing. And that's why the content has to be valuable, right?
Yeah, and it really goes back to that, what do you think is valuable, right? What is somebody, I always like to say, what is somebody in your audience going to tell you is valuable, right? Do a split test really quick on Facebook.
That's a good point, actually. Split testing, and don't assume you know.
Right.
Ask them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have access to your audience. Every company does.
Right.
Just ask and test and see what do they really care about? What do they really find valuable? And at that point, you know how to handle that.
Probably makes it a little bit easier. Maybe that's where you start, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. 80% research, 20% action.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
So, awesome. Any other benefits that you can really think of?
I think it makes you relatable. I also think it shows you have stake in the game, that you're not just committed to, sell product, make money, right? You're committed to trying to help. You're a company that's going to be around. We're talking on the business side of it, right? It shows that if you go work with this company, and we'll use that as the example, they're going to be around for 20, 30, 40 years, and if they're working with them 1 year, are they going to be there 2 years later? And people who are jumping on the content bandwagon, a lot of times it's running out of their house type of thing, right? Doesn't mean that doesn't have value, but it's harder to trust that type of thing. So that's where, for me, content becomes very valuable as a company. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, we'd love to hear from you guys as well. Definitely send us an email, agency@theglintstandard.com, if you have any questions. But we'd also love to hear what you guys see as valuable. We'd love to get your feedback from our own audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
are these podcasts and vidcasts, are they valuable? Do we need to be doing something different? Maybe hard to hear sometimes. Maybe we're doing a great job, but it is good to hear about those things. And we have heard some really good things. So, getting feedback is important.
So drop us a line, either comment on the video below or just shoot us an email, agency@theglintstandard.com.
Thanks.